Hi guys, today's video is on window sliding technique and the questions based on this technique are very commonly asked in good companies like Amazon, Google, Flipkart, etc. This technique is actually a subset of dynamic programming, but in dynamic programming we usually tend to have some problem to get the intuition and convert the solution from recursion to dynamic programming. But the good part about this technique is that once you understand it and once I tell you that this is how you can identify the question, you can solve the questions very easily. So what we will do is, we will take a very basic question of window sliding technique, how we take Fibonacci for dynamic programming. We will take this question and we will understand why do we need this technique. Then I will tell you how you can identify the questions where this technique have to be used, and once you understand the concept, you should be able to solve all the questions related to this technique. We will also see why is this a subpart of dynamic programming. And of course, we will also see the code. So let's get started. So the question we are going to consider is, given an array and an integer k, we have to find the maximum sum that is possible for k consecutive elements in this array. So for example, this is the array given to us and the k that is given is 3. We have to find the maximum sum of k consecutive elements, right? So what are the possible k consecutive elements? So if we take the first 3 elements, this can be one answer. Let's take next 3 elements, this can be an answer. Next take less 3 elements, next 3 elements, and so on. We can take any 3 consecutive elements. And among all these possibilities, the one that has maximum sum will give us our answer, right? So what is the brute force approach for this? Obviously, let's calculate all the subarrays of this k length, which in our case is 3. And calculate the sum for all of them. Now whichever has maximum sum, that will be our answer, right? But if we start calculating all the subarrays of length k, then the time complexity will be order of n square. Let's see if we can do better. For our better approach, I need you to notice these possibilities more carefully. So if we see, what is the difference between the first possibility and the second possibility? These two elements are actually common in this one also and in this one also. When we go from this possibility to this possibility, we are actually not considering this anymore and we are going to consider this extra one, right? Similarly, if we consider these two and these two, right? So when we move from this possibility to the next possibility, we are just not including the last element and we are including the next element now, right? We are basically considering the subarray starting at all the positions, right? So this one was starting here, this one was starting here. So we just moved by one position. So right now I'm going to not include this one and add one more because the length is constant, which is k. Similarly, when I move from this possibility to this possibility, I'm just moving by one element. I am not going to include this element anymore and I am going to include this element, right? Again, if I see, while moving from this possibility to this possibility, I am not going to include this anymore and I am going to include one extra element now, right? So if you notice these black lines more carefully, right, this is a window. So this is one window which I am just moving, I am sliding it by one element. So I am not going to include the first element of this window and I am going to slide it by one element. And I am going to include a new element now. Again, this was my window. I just slid it again. Okay. So this is my new window. Again, this is my new window. So that is why this technique is called sliding window technique. But you must be thinking, why are we doing this sliding process, right? Because we don't have to calculate the sum of these two elements again and again. We basically just have to delete the value of one element and add the value of another element. Let me show you if the k size was more. So right now k is only 3. Say k was 5, then how it would have been? Let me show you. Let's consider this example. This is the array given to us. To make it easier, I have just made the elements as 1, 2, 3, 4 and so on up to 10. Okay. The k given to us is 5. So now I have also marked the possibilities that we should consider. Okay. What will be the sum of the first possibility? It will be 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5. So we have already calculated this value and kept with us, right? Now when we consider the next possibility, we have to take the sum of the values from 2 to 6, right? That means we don't have to consider this 1 anymore. So what do? I just subtract 1 from here and I add the new element, which is 6, and I will have the sum. So basically there are some common elements, which is this 2, 3, 4, 5. So instead of finding the sub-arrays again and again calculating the sum, we are using the sum from the previous possibility, right? So from this we have the sum of the new possibility. Now we can just compare the sums, and whichever is more, we can just keep it, right? Because we need to return the maximum sum. Similarly, now I have this answer. So this will be plus 1 minus 1 I remove, and this is the possibility that I am considering right now, 2 to 6, right? Then I have to consider 3 to 7. So for 3 to 7, I have to remove this 2. So I do minus 2 over here. So I can just remove this and I have to add 7. So this will be the sum of the new possibility, and so on. So if you see, this is like a window that I am moving. I just have to remove the first element and I have to add the next element. Again from 3 to 7 we have the sum. So these are again 5 elements, right? So for the next 5 elements, I have to remove this 3. So I do minus 3. So I am essentially removing this and I am adding 8, right? Again for the next 5 elements, I will have to remove 4 and add 9. For the next 5, I will have to remove 5 and add 10. So this is the last possibility that is possible, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. This is my final window. After this, there are no k consecutive elements possible, right? 5 consecutive elements possible. So I have considered all of the possibilities, and whichever had more sum, I can just return that. Let's quickly write the code now. So we will be keeping track of two summation values, that is window sum and the maximum sum. Maximum sum is the value that we are going to return, and window sum is the current sum that we are considering. That is the sum of the current window that we are considering right now. Okay. So each of these possibilities is actually a window, right? And also, depending on the question, you might also have to consider the cases when you say k is greater than the size of the array, which might be n. So I'm not writing this case condition because this is an edge case. You can just write it depending on the question. Right now I'm assuming that the k given to us is less than the array size n, right? So first thing we have to do is calculate the sum of the first k elements, okay, the first window sum. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to write a for loop for int I. So I'm not writing int I equal to 0, I less than k, I plus plus, say there was int I, okay. So I calculate the sum of these k elements, 5 elements right now, okay. So window sum, initially it was 0, I keep adding the values as they come. So array of I, right. Now I have the sum of these 5 values. So right now my max sum is equal to window sum itself. So I just assign this max sum is equal to window sum. So I have considered my first window. Now I will start moving my window by one, okay. I will slide it. So I write another for loop for int I equal to. So I considered the cases where I was less than k, okay. So now I have to consider cases when I is equal to k or greater than that, okay. So I equal to k, I less than n, I plus plus. So if you see, this I will be the end of every window, right. So right now our I was ending at k minus 1. Now it will end at k, then k plus 1 and so on till less than n, okay. So for all of these windows, what do we have to do? We have to calculate the window sum. We already have that. We have to add the new value that we have considered now. So since I is the new element that we are adding, right? Because this is the new last element that we have added when we are sliding the window. So if you see, in the previous one, it was from 0 to k minus 1. Kth was not included. Now I am including this k element, right? So I include array of k, and I have to also remove this element, right? So I remove array of I minus k. So in this case, if you see, so we are starting from k. So in the first time when we get into this for loop, the value will be k minus k, it will be 0. So we are removing the first element from the array, the 0th element, right? We already have our new window ka sum. We just have to compare it to the maximum sum value and update it if required. So maximum sum will essentially be max of window sum and max sum. And that's it. This is our final code and we just have to return the max sum value now, right? Now if you notice, we have reduced the complexity. In our brute force solution, it was order of n square to order of n. Since we are going through the entire array only once, there is no nested for loop, right? And in most of the questions that involve window sliding technique, this is what you will notice. The brute force would have been, say, exponential time complexity 2 power n or n square, and we are reducing the time complexity to order of n. Now, if you notice, this is much similarity with dynamic programming questions, right? There also we reduce the time complexity from, say, exponential time complexity to order of n and so on. To understand more why this technique comes under dynamic programming, just consider this. This was actually one sub-problem, and after sliding we moved to a new sub-problem that we were using in the next sub-problem and so on. So here also, for every problem we are using the sub-problem that we have already considered, and that is what we do in dynamic programming as well, right? So since we are using the sub-problems over here, we are reducing the time complexity. This is a part of dynamic programming. But as I said earlier, for window sliding techniques, it is very easy to identify the questions. How is that? Let's see that now. So here, what did we do? We considered a window and we were sliding it, right? Now for some elements to form a window and then slide them, the elements should obviously be continuous. Because if the elements are here and there, then we can't form a window out of them, right? It's very obvious that the elements should form a window. They should be contiguous, then we can move the elements, right? And that is when we can use the window sliding technique. Whenever we talk about window sliding technique, you should just picture a window moving. We are just removing one element, adding a new element, removing one element, adding a new element, and so on. So the elements have to be in a sequence. They have to be continuous. So only if the data structure that we are considering stores the elements in a sequence or in continuous manner, then we could have used window sliding technique. What are the examples of such structures? It can be a string because the characters are put together, right? It could be an array like this where we are considering sub-arrays. It could be a list because the elements are together. Now we could be considering k consecutive elements in a list, in a linked list I mean. It could be vectors and so on. So the first point in window sliding technique is that the elements should be continuous in a sequence, right? The second point is that while solving the question, we are trying to achieve one state. Now we could be maximizing something, like in this case we were maximizing the sum. We could be minimizing something. Like in this case, the question could have been just minimize the sum, right? Find the minimum sum of k consecutive elements. Then here we just would have to check the minimum value, right? So we could be maximizing something, minimizing something. We could be finding longest something, shortest something, or we could be checking if it contains something. So I'll give more examples of questions and it will be more clear. But before we discuss more examples of questions, I want to discuss something else. So right now we were moving a window of fixed size, right? But that might not always be the case. Sometimes we might be moving window in different directions and changing the size of the window. Here the window size was k, right? Sometimes the window size might not be given to us and the question could actually be find the longest substring or find the largest possible or find the smallest possible. Those are the cases when we are going to use dynamic length window sliding technique. What does that mean? That means we will have 2 points. One will be the starting point, one will be the ending point. Now we could be actually moving this to shorten the length of our window, or we could be moving this to increase the length of the window, and so on, right? We could be moving this or this. But this is still window sliding technique. Since we are sliding the windows, we are moving it. The only difference is the window size is not fixed. Here also we are trying to maximize something or minimize something. We are trying to achieve a state. Some people actually know this dynamic length window sliding technique by the name two-pointer technique. So what they take is, they take one left pointer and they take one right pointer and they keep moving the pointers to achieve a state. Okay. What they are essentially doing is they are still considering a window only. The first pointer is pointing to the starting point of the window and the right pointer is pointing to the last point of the window, right? And they are just moving the window. So they are considering two pointers, and what I am calling it is a window of dynamic size. In my next video, we will take a question where we consider dynamic length window size. Right now we have done the question only with constant size window. Here we have also written the code, but using this you should be able to solve a lot of questions. Here we were asked to find maximum sum for this window, right? You could have been asked to find minimum sum for the window. You could be asked to find the sub-array of length k whose sum is divisible by 3 or 9. You still would have to calculate the sum, just take mod 3 or 9. You could have been asked to check if the sum is a perfect square. So all of these questions are actually variation of same question. Sometimes we might need another data structure to store the values. For example, if we are given a string and we have to find a substring of length k where we have to deal with the frequencies of the alphabets, then we can store the frequencies in a say set or a map and so on. Similarly, for dynamic length window sliding technique also we might have to use extra data structure. We will see more and more questions like this. But I hope the basic concept of window sliding technique is clear. Let me know your comments and please do like, share and subscribe. It will mean a lot to me. Thank you.